I'm a pretty shy person, and I don't think I try to do anything. It just seems, because what I do is so different, that people really notice it. As a kid, it was the strangest thing. We went on vacation to Florida once, and I was real young, and my sister got to do an outdoor activity with mosaics, and they wouldn't let me do it because I was too young to use the nippers. And so, there was something I saw that I knew I could do. So that element got me in the mosaic. So then when I hit the concrete, it all just kind of came together that I could embed intricate designs or random designs in the concrete, and that worked for me. One thing that I can think back to when I was a child is I used to play in the mud all the time and try to build things. I'd do whole table settings with mud, but it would, and I'd want it to just stay that way, but it would always crumble. So the day that I found out about Portland cement, the magic ingredient, was just a revelation in my mind. It was like doing the same thing I did when I was 5 years old, but now I know how to make it all stay. When I used to do outdoor art festivals, you have this tent and the sides would be down, and to keep my tent down, I would put all these concrete shoes and boots lashed to my tent, and people walk by and they would just laugh hysterically, and that was the first thing they'd say, well, do you work for the mob? But I just thought it was a good way to keep my tent down, and that's actually how I started with the boots. The reason I started doing the little shoes is because I was working one day and I was thinking about bronze baby shoes, of which I never had. So I thought, well, I think I'll try little concrete shoes. They started selling immediately because women would put them in their hands and think, these are just so adorable. People ask me, how do you come up with these ideas? And it's just, I can put my imagination to work through my hands. I can see things to build. I swim a lot, and when I'm swimming, I can just see things in my head to build. So then it's just a challenge to get it built. Well, the success has been when I used to travel doing the art festivals. After I got going on with the concrete bras and bustier pieces with bar, and it had this Western bonanza look to it, I started getting a lot of awards, and people would start inviting me to come to places. Museums will buy some pieces periodically, and a few famous people. And a lot of people call me, and they'll send me the original shoes that they want done, and then I'll ask them about the person that wore the shoes and try to personalize information in the shoe about the child or adult. So that's a huge part of my work. Sometimes when you're a child, you have an experience where somebody says something to you that's just profound, and you go, what? So we're all around the dinner table, and my mother always asks us about once a year. She says, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I kind of had the vibe she didn't want me to be an artist. She would always talk about taking typing and learning accounting and things like that. And so I'd say, well, I want to be a CIA agent or a psychologist. And then the next year she'd ask me again, and I was about 15. And I said, well, I want to be an artist. She said, well, you'll never make any money at that unless you're a dead painter or you work in advertising. And so from then on, I kept doing business classes in high school, and I started college, and I was taking regular classes, and then I decided to go ahead and take a sculpture class. And once I started that, I realized I've always been an artist, and I think it's important. It was important for me to not drive my children to be something that they're not, and to recognize their talents and try to encourage them instead of discourage them. Whenever you have a passion, the energy will get out somewhere and somebody will notice it.